Hello, we are Nerds of the West. Thank you so much for being here. We are playing Reload today, but before we play a game, we have to learn how to play it. My name is Tom. We have a Lachlan, a Callum, and a Chris, and we are going to be showing you how to play Reload. Lachlan is going to be running you through the rules, and before we get into that, I just have to say that this game was very kindly given to us by Colossal Games and their distributor, so thank you very much to them. Doesn't really impact much for the how to play side of things, but later on when we play the game and review it at the end of our stream, because that's what we're doing right now, we're live on twitch.tv/nerdsofthewest. You can come and join us live on a Saturday, but when we get to those thoughts later on, that will not impact anything that we do or say, because we are honest with what we think about games. But this game, this is a battle royale board game. This is a game where we are going to be running around this arena, picking things up, shooting each other. It is an arena combat game, but not an arena combat game where the aim is to be the last one standing. This is an arena combat game where you are trying to score points, or as this game calls it, fame. Fame is this track up here. The game ends when someone reaches the end of their fame tracker, or when we run out of this event deck here. As the gas slowly envelops us, we run out of time to score as many points as we need to do. So, without further ado, Lachlan, how do we get to those winning conditions?
Okay, so as Tom's explained, we're going to drop in, it's a battle royale, we're going to get in and we're going to get out. So there's different ways of scoring those points, and they're represented by these little tokens here. So there are supply drops, there are these are fame tokens, sorry. Supply drops, if you make someone reload, which is by basically killing them, then you'll get a reload token and that will go into your tracker. Or if you give them an injury, if you lay a trap and someone sets it off, depending on how that plays out, the points will go to whoever wins the trap. So let's have a look at Callum's, which are green, for example. The backsides have a paper, a scissors, and a rock. And basically they're going to be put face down onto the board. So then they have the trap symbol on them.
Move them down a little bit.
Down a little bit towards Chris.
Yeah.
So they've got a paper, scissors, and a rock. And then when they're on the board, they are this. So Chris is going to choose one. And when you go to that space and you want to disarm it or you want to try and interact with it, you're going to paper, scissors, and rock. And you choose one, and depending on what you choose, is going to affect how you interact with the trap. So if you beat it, then you need to disarm it. If you match it, then you're ensnared and you stop and don't do anything. And if you lose, you take damage from the trap. That's pretty much how it works. Very simple, very elegant.
A cool little system. Yeah, cool.
I really like it. The game is broken up into rounds, and those rounds are broken up into phases. And it's going to go in a clockwise manner as per most games. So in a game round, the first player, or whoever the active player is, say it is myself as correct, I am going to do the start phase, which is assigning all my dice to where I would like to take actions. So they're going to go onto my little playboard, and I'm going to line them up into the different actions that I would like to take in that round. And they have different values set to them, which will come into an effect when we go into combat and defending. So anything that's not assigned is going to stay in your unassigned area, and they can be used later for combat. So basically, for what I've set up in my start phase here, I have set up that I'd like to do a move action, I'd like to do an activate, and I'd like to do a loot. That is the setup phase of putting your dice down, leaving anything that you don't want to assign. You could assign everything if you just want to avoid everyone and just get in and get out and score as many points in a non-confrontational way.
Because that's only ever going to go well.
Oh, it's only ever going to go well.
That's the prize. Get what you want and don't get shot in the back.
So once you've done your start phase, you then have your action phase. In the start phase, I didn't forget to mention that you also have equipment. You're going to assign your equipment to your different spots, and you can have one torso, one head, and two hands. So they'll have little symbols on them to show you where they go. Certain equipment has no spaces because they're like a grenade or a health pack or something like that, that you just pull out of your backpack and you get to use it. Some, which is like ranged weapons, will have spots on them where you'd actually have to assign dice to it because you know that you're going to want to use that weapon against someone else. So you're going to have to assign a dice to that in the start phase as well. As you go around the map, there are 3 different tiers of loot, which can be gained from picking them up off the map, or when events come out, more might come down because the producers of the game, the producers of the Battle Royale TV show, are going to drop them into the map.
Legendary loot, let's go.
Legendary loot. Always looking for those legendary boxes. So once we've done the start phase, then you'd move on to your action phase. And this is when you get to take all the actions that you have predetermined. So you set them up and knock them down. So then you get to take your action, so moving into different spaces. Some areas will have different symbols and criteria of where you can or cannot move, or how you can move into them. So for example, these mountainous areas or these slopes will take 2 move actions. So if you've only queued up 1 move, you can't move there. You'd need to have set up an extra move in your start phase to be able to move into that space. So like Callum said before, which I'm not sure if it was in this segment, but you could have 3 moves in a turn. So you could move all the way to the edge of the map, backwards, forwards, whichever way that you want to go. There are things that will stop you from moving, such as the criteria on the tiles, walls, you can't move through walls, and you're going to be able to place walls as well, which comes down to the other actions you can do. So like there's activate, loot, and then you've got your build action. So there's a few different things that we can do when we're out and about. So moving is the biggest one. Activating, there are tiles that have an activate ability, so you'd have to have an activated action ready. Looting, which is taking either a fame token or a supply drop off of the hex and putting it into your loot section, and then you can turn them in at the tower. So it's not so much as picking them up, you still got to get them back to safety before you can actually reap the rewards.
That's horrifying. I just want to hide and pick up a sniper rifle, and you're telling me I have to come back and fight you guys?
Well, if you want fame, it's not all about killing, it's also about playing the objective, I guess. There are 2 types of actions. There are unrestricted actions, which you can do if you occupy the same space as someone else, so you can move in and out of their area easy breezy. You can loot from their space if they didn't have a loot action and they ended up on that space. You can do an activate if they're on a tile that has an activate, or you want to move into their position for later on combat. There are 2 actions that are restricted, which is building, and that is building your own little walls, and that is going to prevent people from moving, and it's also going to prevent people from being able to shoot you or block their line of sight. So that's very useful. And the other unrestricted action is also healing, which you have to be in a space unoccupied by someone else, so that way you can actually heal up. You can't heal up.
Have the time to bandage up before you get going.
Exactly. And then the next phase after that will be the end phase, which is when we'd like tie up any loose ends, finish your turn by taking an event card, playing it out, and then it will be the next person's turn.
The Hunter's Crown, God, that seems like a really great one to have right at the start. We'll explain all those through when we get into the gameplay, but events are going to fill up the board with gas, give you specific things from the producers of the show, extra items, extra things to do to try and take someone down. But to see that all through, you'll have to watch our gameplay.
Yep. So the other thing, the biggest thing, which we're now going to explain, is combat and how that works. So in your action phase, when you move into someone's space, you can perform a close combat, or if you are a couple of spaces away, granted you have the correct equipment, you'll be able to shoot them from afar. And there's line of sight rulings, which we'll explain as we're playing it. So in your start phase, you would have had to assign dice to that card to be able to use it on your turn, using the correct face of the dice, and then you'd be able to shoot someone. Then in the combat phase, you're going to take your defense dice, or the unassigned dice that you had prepared yourself for combat because you knew you were going to go attack someone, and you're going to roll those dice and you're going to match them against your opponent. So they're going to line up in your combat zone.
Oh, not a good roll, Tom.
Not good at all.
So in this phase, the 5 would beat the 2, the 3 would beat the 1, and so Tom would take some damage.
I would lose those dice. I would no longer have those dice available to me for my turn. But Lachlan, it seems a little bit unfair that you just get to assign dice and have dice left over. What about the rest of my dice? I feel like they'd be important if they're sitting up here in my spot doing things for me.
So they too get to move into that combat list, do they not?
Exactly.
And you get to move them, and you can assign all of your unused dice as well to compare.
I not only get the 2 really terrible dice rolls, I would actually get this 4 from my movement, and maybe this 3 from my pickup. So it's still not great for me, but now instead of losing everything. This 5 beats this 4, and I lose that. This 3 and 3 ties don't matter. You got
Ties
to beat
don't matter. No.
2 and 2, so it's not as bad a situation for me.
But any unopposed dice are taken off the next lowest dice. So this 1 would actually be, this 2 would become a 1 because it is unopposed.
And if this was close combat, you would lose that dice, right?
I believe so, yes. And it will go into your injury zone.
Let's go. There are also skulls. When you start off in combat, you will assign a skull to your dice pool.
So I'm cheating already, stealing your dice.
Stealing the dice.
I
Yep.
stole all my dice that I was using examples from my board.
You assign skulls, and the attacker, if they have more skulls than the defender,
Yeah.
automatically does injuries and gets rid of the lowest numbered dice, therefore giving you extra chance to deal extra damage.
Exactly.
That's
So
painful.
there's a lot of risk reward kind of deal where you're like, I need to move right now, but do I need to move this much and only have a 2 value dice available to me, or do I need to play it a little bit safe and have some dice left over for defense?
The answer is yes. Run.
Run away as fast as
As
you
far
can.
as you can.
First person to get a sniper rifle is going to have a very good time.
But you only have 5 dice, so while you might be able to run 3 spaces, that might not be enough to get you out of trouble. So you are going to have to plan ahead at the start of your turn.
And that's going to have to last you 3 turns all the way around.
One other thing is everyone's got different abilities. So as Korat, I have the special ability of Gifted from Father. When resolving a supply token, or supply box token, Tom, stop stealing my card when I'm trying to read it.
But it's got the same one you play on.
that doesn't have words on it. So, as Korat, I have a special ability which is Gift from Father. When resolving a supply box token, draw 1 additional card. So, normally when you get a supply box, you get 2 cards and put 1 back, whereas I'll get to draw 3 and put 1 back, which means I'm getting more equipment than others.
Man, yours is so much better than
so
mine.
You use Dad's credit card to buy loot boxes.
Yeah.
I just have an extra run space.
Nice!
That's
I
actually
mean, I
pretty
can
good.
move 4 spaces in a turn.
You can
but-
literally run from edge to edge on the board.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be great, but at the same time, I want extra items.
Yep. Chris, your player?
I'm playing Dax, who has like monkey legs, like cybernetic monkey
Put your
legs.
card in there.
Unrivaled agility means that during my end
dun, dun.
phase, I can place the bottom die of my combat line into my defense pool, so I'm actually harder to kill,
Oh,
which is
nice.
Apologies for your blue screen not working. That's real weird. Callum,
doesn't-
who are you playing?
I'm playing Duke, and when I do range combat against someone, I get to add
An additional.
an additional value to any one of my shooting dice. So if I roll a 3, I can make it a 4.
Kill him.
Nice.
That's awful.
It's hard.
Sniper boy.
Specifically ranged combat.
Yeah.
That is horrifying.
Don't let
I'm
him get
not-
his hands on a gun.
Only 1 dice though.
There are 20 cards in the event deck, which means that it's going to be 5 turns each. It's about a 30 to 60 minute game. Obviously, when we're playing on the stream, things take a little bit longer because we have to hang out with you, our
We have
lovely
to hang out
audience.
with chat.
The only other thing to note, I guess, is this lovely board down here, which is going to track the achievements.
This is the achievement board, which we
We can
need to
over
flip
now.
them up now. And these are objectives that if you complete them during the game, there's different symbols. These ones only have the next symbol, but there's a next and there's a final, which is a podium looking symbol. And the next means the next person to complete this action, which is double trouble, which is inflicts 2 damage.
Is that in 1 turn, or is that add-on have 2 damage?
So that's the next person to do it. So whoever meets that criteria first is gonna get that. So you would, when you inflict damage on someone from combat, you would get a damage token and it would go into your fame track. And the next time you get the second one and you're the first person to get it, then you would get that achievement and you would get the achievement token to go onto your board as
Extra
well.
victory points,
Yeah.
baby.
You are entertaining the producers and the people watching the show.
This is what's hot right now. You gotta.
That's what's hot.
That's what
Exactly.
people want to see. If you want to see us play Reload, that video will be up on YouTube very soon. As always, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know in the comments down below. We stream board game content every single week. You can catch us over on twitch.tv/Nerds of the West, or if you're not in the right time zone, because we stream at weird time zones, here on YouTube a couple of days later. Thank you very much, and we will catch you next time.